Me a milk cow, and I milked cows by hand from 4th grade to 12th grade. My sister got a cow when she turned into the 4th grade, and we sold the milk out of the car at church, enough to put myself through college, at $1 a gallon. That's a lot of gallons of milk. That's a little bit of an unusual childhood, don't you think? When I went to the band class in 6th grade, all of my little friends, all girls, right? What did they play? Flute, clarinet. What did I play? The tuba. The tuba and the sousaphone. I played from 6th grade till 12th grade. I had to learn how to breathe in order to get enough air through that thing. Tuba is a concert, sousaphone is the big one that comes out at the marching bands. So I want to stop and say, what can you learn from that? Because we all hear people's histories and you're like, yeah, 4th grade, 6th grade, come on, Kim, get on with it, right? So what I want you to learn about the time there is, because I was in 4-H with the cows, I had to take records and submit those records. They were part of our 4-H program. And so I learned the importance of tracking things. And we're talking like a pencil and a pen, but tracking records. And I want you to just acknowledge, yep, tracking records, important, especially when it comes to personal finance. I don't know what you're going to learn out of the tuba thing. That was just for fun. So let's move forward a little bit. I go to college, paid for it with the milk money, and I get out of college with an English degree. Hence, I write a lot of books because I do love to read, and I write and create for Amazon. It's an awesome thing to do. But I went to an intern to try to figure out how I was going to make money in the world, because with an English degree, it's a bit of a challenge. And I went to a law firm and did an intern and decided immediately I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I lived with a banker at the time. And so I started paying attention to what she was doing and helping people with personal finance at a bank. So we're talking mortgages, right, in that era. This is late 80s. All kinds of checking accounts, savings accounts. The trust department was there. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I got to help every department of the bank in my 3 years there. And what I want you to learn from that time that I learned was the utter importance of cash. How critical cash is, liquidity, liquid cash that you can get your hands on in a moment's notice to take care of emergencies and opportunities. Because I saw all walks of life in this bank, and the people that had cash were able to survive emergencies. Again, I saw all walks of life, and the people that had cash were able to survive emergencies, but more importantly, the people that had cash were able to take advantage of opportunities. So the importance of cash and liquidity in people's personal finances is of utmost clarity, security, peace of mind, all the things that we want our money to do starts with cash and liquidity. I left the bank and started helping people with their personal finances, and that was in the early 1990s. And I got trained to be a certified financial planner, and I got that designation. And I spent about 5 years doing what I now call typical financial planning. And what I learned from that, and what I want you to pick up on, is that typical financial planning starts with the end in mind and tries to work backwards. And it's a very difficult thing to do. And it sounds like this. At what age do you want to retire? Most people don't know the answer to that. And it gets worse. How much income do you want? Well, who knows the answer to that? I mean, how high is up, right? So typical financial planning tries to figure out what you want way out in the future and then work back to today to get it. And while it might be mathematically correct, because we can identify an age and we can identify an income and we can assume inflation rates and we can assume interest rates and we can assume tax rates and we can bring all that back and we can make a mathematical computation that says, if you do this and all these assumptions occur correctly, then you'll get this. It's mathematically correct, but it has nothing to do with your life. And so about 1995 and 96, I had a huge crisis mentally around this space because I was giving people these financial plans with the most horrible feeling in my gut because I knew that they were mathematically correct and yet they had nothing to do with their lives. And so I went on a search and I went back to all my clients at the bank, which was in the late 80s, early 90s, and I looked at all of my financial planning clients and I tried to figure out what were they doing? What was it that they did that had them be successful financially? And I realized that they didn't start out with the end in mind and try to work backwards. They just started where they were, which is a really big part of what Brian's message has been today. Start where you are today and go forward. So now let's stack up the lessons. So, alternatives. Would you agree that if we do what everybody else is doing, we're going to get what everybody else gets? Yes? Okay. Do we like what our society is getting in their personal finances? No. We don't generally see that people's personal finances are handled well. And so if we don't want to get what everybody else is getting, we want to be doing something alternative. All right, let's keep stacking the lessons. The importance of cash and liquidity. Most people, when they look at their personal finances, they start with investments. That's the sexy, fun stuff to talk about. And yet, again, most people, when they look at their personal finances, they start with investments. And yet, what gives us our confidence and our capability and our peace of mind? Cash. Thank you. Cash is what lets us take care of emergencies, and cash is what lets us also take advantage of opportunities. And yet, no financial planner out there wants to talk about the importance of storing cash and liquidity in your personal finances. So, another stacked lesson. Make that a priority for yourself, no matter how you want to do it. Now, as we progressed, and I always say we because it's always a team that gets stuff done, right? It's never a single person. So it could be me and my assistant, it could be me and my husband who does software, it could be me and God if that's easier for you to think about it that way. We developed 3 specific alternatives that help our clients with their personal finances. And one is a better place to store cash. Because the last time I checked, the banks and the credit unions and the brokerage houses where your money markets are paying less than 1% and it's taxable. So we use an alternative for cash that enables you to store your cash at more like 3% or so without paying tax. And it's an ancient product that is as boring as all get out, and it's known as whole life insurance. And it is an alternative for cash. Whole life insurance is an alternative for cash. It's not an investment. So when you take a look at these alternatives, the alternative for cash, the alternative for growth, and the alternative for income, that is the substance of our practice. We help people in all 50 states. We work specifically over the phone and the web. I live in a tiny little town called Mount Enterprise, Texas, which is about an hour and a half from here, south and east. And we enable people to install alternatives in their personal finances for cash, growth, and income.